Israel is preparing for a ground attack in Gaza. Hundreds and thousands of people have lost their lives and the war is intensifying. Policymakers are struggling to assess the consequences of the war on global growth. But what is the actual cost of the war? Rising oil prices, a surging dollar, and geopolitical instability. Experts say if Israel puts troops on ground, oil prices will surge to $100 per barrel. But all this only if the war intensifies. Hello and welcome, I'm Pallavi Sharma and you're watching Money Wise with ET Now. Today we talk all about the war and assess the economic impact of it in 3 different scenarios. Let's begin. Last week, Hamas attacked the towns of Israel, attacking civilians and kidnapping hundreds of them in the worst attack on civilians in Israeli history. The death toll is already in thousands, so the human cost is known. But what about the economic cost? There is a concern that militants in Lebanon and Syria that support Hamas will join the fight. A sharper escalation will bring Israel into direct conflict with Iran. Remember, Iran is already showing support to Hamas by supplying arms and money to the group. A conflict in the Middle East can send tremors across the globe because it is a crucial supplier of energy and a key shipping passage. The global economy is already recovering from the inflation caused by Russia-Ukraine war. Another war in an energy-producing region can rekindle inflation. But it all depends on how the war develops. A Bloomberg report breaks it down in 3 different scenarios. First is a confined war where there is a ground invasion of Gaza but nobody else is involved. One possible impact could be tightening of US sanctions on Iran oil. Tehran has increased its oil output by 700,000 barrels per day this year. If this disappears under US pressure, the estimates suggest that there will be a $3 to $4 boost in oil prices. Oil prices directly impact inflation because with rising oil prices come costly fuel, which increases the cost of transportation of goods and services. Still, the impact on the global economy under this will be minimal, especially if Saudi and the UAE offset lost Iranian barrels using their spare capacity. At this stage, economists say that there will be no major economic ripple effects. Second is a proxy war. If the war spreads to Lebanon and Syria, it would effectively turn into a proxy war between Israel and Iran, and economic costs will rise. Already, severe bombing was witnessed in South Lebanon, where a journalist lost his life. Iran and Iran-backed political party Hezbollah are monitoring and assessing the war, as per Israeli military's former deputy chief of staff. He says that if Hezbollah is to join the war, then it would be when Israel begins the ground operation in Gaza, which it is preparing for. If this happens, a probability of direct conflict between Israel and Iran will send oil prices higher. In 2006, a war between Israel and Hezbollah jumped the crude prices $5 per barrel. Tensions could rise in wider regions involving Egypt, where protests are already erupted. In this case, economies could expect 2 shocks: a 10% rise in oil prices and a risk of move in financial markets. This could trigger $300 billion of lost output that would slow pace to 2.4%. Higher crude prices could add 0.2 percentage points to global inflation, holding it near 6%. Third is an Iran-Israel war. While this is a low probability scenario, it is dangerous and could trigger global recession. Soaring oil prices and plunged risk assets here would be a substantial blow to the global growth and will take inflation higher. Israel has long viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat. Iran has good ties with Russia and China, and it is restoring diplomatic ties with Saudi, while Israel is backed by the US. Western officials say that they are concerned that China and Russia will exploit the conflict to divert attention and military resources from other parts of the world. Around a fifth of world's oil supply comes from the Gulf region, and there when the prices of oil rise, it could go to $150 per barrel. A repeat strike on Aramco facilities, which took over 50% of Saudi's oil supply offline earlier, is not out of the question in this case. And if Iran decides to close the Strait of Hormuz, 1/5 of world's daily oil supplies will be halted. Bloomberg estimates 1% point drop in global growth if this happens, taking 2024 numbers to 1.7%. And a big shock in oil may also trigger global inflation to 6.7% next year. The oil prices also trigger inflation, and the political impact will also be huge. Experts say developing Asia, including India and Indonesia, will be impacted the most with the rise in oil prices if the war intensifies. So as of now, the war is only having a moderate impact, but if it escalates further, the already suffering global economy will bear the cost. For more such detailed explainers, keep watching ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.